Welcome to Thrive Week 5. Today we are going to be going through a 10-minute workout designed to help you improve dexterity and fine motor movements of your fingers without using any equipment. Now, before we get into it, make sure that you're subscribed to the channel so that we can reach more survivors around the globe. All right, let's go ahead and get into it. So for our first exercise, we are going to be doing finger extension. So this is a precursor movement to a lot of fine motor movements. And finger extension is just the act of bringing your fingers back as far as you can. There are a lot of different ways to do this. I'm going to put my hands down on the table, and here's how we're going to start. You're just going to try to gently lift up your hands or your fingers and then place them back down. Let's go ahead and try that again. Try to lift those fingers so they come up off of the table and then back down. I like doing this with fingers on the table because you get some of that feedback of, hey, my fingers are actually lifting up a little bit. I can tell that I'm getting some of that extension. However, if this movement is too difficult, you can modify. Put your hand kind of in a side position, resting on your pinky, and try to bring those fingers back that way. You're taking out some of the resistance that gravity places on you by turning your hand in this position. All right, we're moving on to the next one, which is the opposite of finger extension. It's making a fist. So what you're gonna do is you can either have your hands on the side, just like we kind of ended with that last movement. And all you're gonna do is bring those fingers in, squeeze and make a fist if you can, and then try to open them back up. Now, if it's easier, you can support your involved side with your uninvolved side so that you're taking away some of the resistance of whatever surface you're on, kind of lifting that hand up, or even placing like a washcloth or a rolled up towel underneath your wrist, and then gently trying to make a fist and then pushing back open. You don't have to go quite as far as you did with the extension, but trying to bring those fingers in and then pushing them open. Fantastic job. Let's keep it going. Good. Push it open and close. Let's do one more where we open and bring it back into a fist for me. Good job. Okay, next exercise, we're doing something called opposition. And that's when we're looking at how our fingers can kind of cross to the thumb, each one individually. Woo! So you can do this again, a couple different ways you can do this. You can hold your hand up, just like we were doing before, if you have some wrist extension. If not, you can rest here. You can even rest with your palm up if you're able to get in that position, and try to bring each of your fingers into your thumb. Now, you may or may not be able to quite get all the way there, but that's okay. Do your best. If you can get all the way there, go for it. And you're just gonna start back and try it again. You may not be going as quickly as I am, and that's totally fine. You just go at your own pace and whatever is working for you. All right, fantastic. Finish your last one. We're moving on to the next exercise, which I'm calling typing. I think most of us live with our computers these days, desktop, laptop, whatever you have. But we have to type often. And it's a good movement to practice for dexterity. So what you're gonna do is put your hands flat on the table or a surface, whatever you're working on. And I just want you to kind of tap, tap, tap each finger, sort of as if you're hitting keys on a keyboard. I almost said a typewriter. I don't think we use typewriters that much anymore. Correct me if I'm wrong, if anybody out there is still using a typewriter. Now, you can make this a little harder and move kind of some random fingers if you like. But we're kind of combining a lot of those movements that we've already done where we're extending to try to get the fingers off the table, but we're isolating to try to get individual fingers, almost as if we were typing on a keyboard. All right, let's move on to the last exercise before we have a short rest. This is advanced opposition. So before, we were just trying to bring these fingers together. Now we're making this movement a little bit more challenging. Advanced opposition. We're going to try to bring the finger all the way down the thumb. Or you can even try to bring that thumb all the way down your other finger, vice versa. However you want to try it. Very nice. Now this one is really tough. I can't do that with my pinky. Don't have that movement. But if you are able to do this movement, go for it. If not, stick with the regular opposition where you're just touching fingertips. Either way, I want you to stop here for just a moment. We're gonna take about another 20 seconds, have a little break, grab a sip of water if you need it, or take a nice deep breath. You know that's one of my favorite things to do during a rest break. So let's take a big deep breath in through your nose. Breathe out through your mouth. Excellent job. We're moving right back into our second set. So our first exercise is that finger extension. Now remember, this is where we're setting our palms down, flat on a surface, and trying to raise up all of those fingers at one time and then back down. Fantastic. Let's try it again. And remember that if this one is too difficult, you can turn your hand on the side, you can support with your uninvolved hand and try to bring your fingers back that way. It doesn't have to, your fingers don't have to be perfectly straight. You don't have to push it all the way back. We're just trying to start off getting that movement. Very nice job. Let's keep it going. Because often when we think about dexterity, we think about those fine movements, but often finger extension and finger flexion are both involved in dexterity. You can't isolate those movements from one another. So it's important to build on these basics in addition to some of those more fine motor movements like we see with opposition. So let's go ahead and go into our next exercise, which is making a fist. So one of those prerequisite movements, right? So you can either lay your hand flat with the palm up. You can come here on the side. If you have the movement, you can even raise your arm and make a fist with your elbow bent up like this. Whatever's most comfortable for you, but you're trying to make a nice fist, bring all those fingers in, including your thumb, and then pushing them all out again. Now you're not having to push quite as far as you did with that finger extension in the first exercise, but I do want you to try to push your hand open a little bit, because often what happens, that finger extension is what's really difficult to get back after a stroke. Same with wrist extension. Those finger flexors tend to sort of take over, get stronger, and then the extensors get weaker, and that movement can become difficult. All right, we're moving on to the next exercise, which is opposition. So this is where we're coming back. We're touching fingertips, thumb to index, middle, ring, pinky. Good, and we just are gonna repeat that. At your own pace, you may not be going this quickly, and that's totally fine. Remember, you can do this in this position if this is a little bit easier for you, depending on the level of movement that you have. If you prefer to do it kind of in that side position where your arm is on its side, you can do it that way. You can do it with your palm up if you have that level of movement, that supination. Let's finish off this one. Ooh, let's do one more. Fantastic. Let's move on to the next exercise, which is our typing exercise. So this is where fingers are coming down, your hands are flat on the surface or sort of cupped a little bit. Actually, not quite all the way flat. I learned how to play piano when I was little, and they always taught me to sort of pretend like I had a little bubble in my palm. So if that helps to visualize that position, you can do that as well. But you're just gonna try to tap, tap, tap. Type, type, type. If it helps to do with your uninvolved side as well, that's fine. Or you can just focus solely on your involved side. Whatever is easier for you. You can practice different fingers. You can practice one at a time, bringing some together, trying all together, but try to break it up and pushing down into whatever surface that you are working on at the moment. All right, nice job. Guess what? We're at our last exercise. We're back at advanced opposition. So this is where you're taking your thumb and your finger and you're sort of running either the thumb or the finger down each other. So this is why it's advanced. It's not just stopping at touching fingertips. We're taking this a little bit further. This is a little bit harder. And I can't do this movement with my pinky except for touching here, so that's what I'm gonna do. So, good. Let's keep it going. You're doing fantastic. Ooh, I can do it with my thumb. My pinky can only go down so far. Nice job. Let's do one more. Thumb runs down, finger runs down. Good job. Stop there, everyone. Give your hands a nice little stretch here. Oh, that was a good one. Give your fingers some love after that. But that is it for Thrive Week 5. I'm so glad to have you back here. I hope that you're finding this Thrive Home Recovery Program helpful so far. I'm looking forward to the next couple of videos that I have for you. Make sure that you leave a comment and share what you thought about this video. Did you like some of these exercises? Did you find them helpful? And make sure to comment on others' comments to keep everybody encouraged and engaged. As always, I'm going to be leaving a link down in the description if you'd like to sign up for the email list, which gets you free stroke recovery tips and a copy of my free ebook. And if you find value in what we do here at Post Stroke, please consider gifting us, either by giving us a one-time donation via PayPal, by giving us a super thanks by clicking down in the YouTube bar below, or by becoming a Patreon member, where in exchange for a monthly donation, you get access to cool perks like social media shoutouts, behind the scenes footage, and even YouTube shoutouts, of which I have a few today. Thank you all so much for continuing to contribute at our Empower level. We can't do what we do without you. And of course, a big thank you to all of our other Patreon supporters. Thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you next time.